Hi there. Today, again, about how to live to get enlightened. This enlightenment requires peace, seclusion, isolation. What facilitates enlightenment? Do we need to move away from everyday stress, obligations, requirements, emotional turmoils? Do we need a special mindset? I'll try to answer all these questions in this video. My answers are based on personal experience and bits of insight. It's important to note that enlightenment, the process of enlightenment that I'm talking about, comes as a consequence of spiritual practice, training the mind, and not as a one-off event because of some extreme circumstances or state of mind. Okay, let's get into it. What is the most important thing that people who want to get enlightened need to pay attention to? State of mind, engagement with the thoughts, or non-engagement with the thoughts. Focus on inside instead of focus on the outside. And then some peace and tranquility to practice in a place where they're not interrupted on a daily basis. It doesn't need to be long, but it has to be on a daily basis. You have to develop a daily habit if you want to get enlightened more and more and totally in this lifetime. I don't think you need to seclude yourself or isolate yourself completely and live like a monk. You can still live your everyday life, but you have to be really careful about how you do that, how you go about it, how you interact or not interact with your thoughts, how you're interested or not interested in your thoughts and what's happening around you all the time. Socialize less. Spend less time on social medias. Spend much less time or none at all watching videos, watching TV, listening to the radio, or watching the videos like these. Cut all this down. Cut down completely, if you can, the small talk, gossip, talking about nothing, on and on and on with this and that, and cut down socializing. Allow your mind to be free. And instead of focusing all the time on the outside, paying attention all the time on what's happening around you, what this said, what that said, and all sorts of things that have really no importance whatsoever, pay attention to what's inside. What's the mind doing? Is the mind interacting with the thoughts, engaging with the thoughts? Or is the mind separate from the thoughts in the first stage, just observing the thoughts and letting them come and go? And then practice on a daily basis, at least 10, 15 minutes, maybe twice a day, not just once a day. No thinking, getting away from surface thoughts. And what is so very important is that you do not just gear towards enlightenment when you practice, but in your everyday life, when you tune down completely or even stop certain engagements, certain small talks, gossiping, paying attention to every small thing on the outside, engaging with the thoughts again and again and again. Past, future, what just happened, what might happen, and so on and so on. You have to do it as you go about your everyday business. cut all this down. Paying attention to all this, keeping the focus on the mind. What's the mind doing? Is it staying away from the thoughts? Is it not engaging? Is it letting the thoughts pass by? These are so very important things, this sort of a mindset. And then understanding, having an idea, even if you have not experienced it yet yourself, but having an idea and an inkling that the reality very much resembles the dream reality. It is the product of the same process. It's just more structured. Because we're fixating on the thoughts consciously. And while we are asleep, we're obviously not conscious, so we're not fixating on the thoughts. But the process is the same. This so-called reality is just an experience. We have this sort of reality that is just an experience that we call everyday experience, live. Then we have dream experience that we call dream, that's when we sleep. Then we have imagination, which is again another sort of experience, and so on and so on. Then we have people that we put a name on, like a mental patient that has again other sorts of experiences, that they hear voices and see things that most people don't, and so on and so on. All these are just different sorts of experiences that the mind is created. They're all experiences. In the same way, this so-called life or reality is just another experience. So I think there is a certain understanding that is needed about that. What is reality? That is just an experience created by the mind, as there are other types of experiences. So I definitely do not think that you need to become a monk or go and seclude yourself somewhere or live in some special circumstances, closeted away from the rest of the world. But it is important that you socialize less, that you engage less and less and less with your thoughts, with the social media, with everything around you, and that you put your focus on the inside, that you focus on the mind. What is the mind doing? And that you practice on a daily basis. And you do need peace, without disturbances, interruptions, to practice no thinking and getting away from surface thoughts. And all this put together would slowly bring about huge changes. The mind will change. You will get from the moving mind to the still mind. Everything inside will change. The perception will change completely. The way you experience so-called life, everyday life, will change in a big way. And more insights will come to you, will dawn on you, as they say, about how this all works, how it's all put together, and so on and so on. People who do get away from everyday life, who become monks or who sort of live their life in isolation, in seclusion, they have more time and they dedicate themselves to practice. So the levels of absorption into the still mind that they reach is much deeper than what we will probably reach at any time in this life. But it doesn't matter. We can go deep enough into the still mind to experience enlightenment in the starting stages. We do not need to go all the way and understand completely everything, every detail, and become active in the still mind, but enough to become enlightened, to not come back into another life cycle, not to have to be reborn again, and so on and so on. It is possible. What is needed is discipline, less socializing, less social media, less interaction with the thoughts, and practicing on a daily basis. The state of mind, or the special mindset here, is very important. An understanding of the nature of everyday life as an experience. So by all means, do not become discouraged. If you're not joining any special spiritual tradition or group, or are going to some special sessions of meditation or whatnot, or closeting yourself away in some sort of a monastery for a while, and so on and so on, do not get discouraged because of that. You can all do all that is necessary to take steps towards enlightenment in everyday life. You just have to take certain steps and be very disciplined about it. Anyway, enough talk, isn't it? Talk soon. Bye-bye.